Look, you mind if I give you some advice? Why is this even a choice? This is basically asking, hey, you want the bad end or the good end? At least that's my assumption of this. Sure, why not? What was it Muto said yesterday? If you can't observe the thing, then observe what's around it. Worth a shot. Yours knows Emmy better than I do, I'll wager. Sure. Open to suggestions. Honestly, I'm kind of lost. I've got no idea how to deal with this. Never would have guessed. He grins while he says this. I think he's kidding. Look, here's the deal. Emmy is, stubborn. You should know that by now, and if you don't, then you're pretty unobservant, but I'm giving you a benefit of the doubt here. I'm so grateful. Yeah, anyway, if she's decided that she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then she's not going to talk about what happened. Has she said anything about what's been bothering her? Even a hint? Well, she did say she'd been having nightmares about the accident. Really? You're making progress then. That's good. Well, I guess I can fill you in without this, without violating my strict non-interference policy when it comes to Emmy making these stupid decisions. The anniversary of her accident is coming up soon. She gets depressed around this time because it was a pretty traumatic event considering what she lost. That's the other thing. She acted like she lost more than just her legs. What happened? Did her father pass? Whoa, nope, not going there. You'll have to ask someone else about that because that's a whole can of worms I'm not about to open. If Emmy wants you to know, she'll tell you in her own time. You just gotta be patient, that's all. Why are you even helping with all this? Because you're good for her. She trusts you even if you don't think she does. And you've got the best chance out of anyone at this school right now to help her out through this time of year. She won't accept my help, but she might accept yours if you don't screw it up. So don't screw it up, got it? Open my mouth to respond, but a knocking sound at the door interrupts me. Hey, you guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give us a second to get our pants back on. Door burst open and Emmy glares knives at the nurse. Asshole! Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyway, what's up, Emmy? Forget something? Try taking more cheerful time with her. No need to upset her. Two can play this everything's fine game. And actually, I've got to ask you something. Oh, what's that? Do you want to come with me on a trip to my house? My mom's making dinner, and I thought you might want to join us. Well, of course I accept. He punches the nurse in the arm playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. I was talking to Hisao. Oh? How interesting, meeting the parent. I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. Nurse raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Great. I'll be in my room. Sweep by after shower and change into something clean, so we'll grab the bus. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. It's time it's me who leads in for a quick kiss before darting off to my room. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer after all. Maybe Emmy's finally ready to open up a little. Or maybe she's just being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize for last night. Great. Now I can't decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. I settle for a combination of all three and hop in the shower. Here we go. We're not even on Act 4 yet. Is there an Act 4? There has to be an Act 4. The only one I know that has an Act 5, technically, is Lily's, but I don't think I'd like riding on buses. Actually, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. They sway a lot and they smell funny. You can feel every bump in the road. Hey, I ride a bus every day, bud. I don't like it either. I'm really not looking forward to this. Plus, Emmy's legs keep making a clanking noise that draws the attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again, and she's got long socks drawn up over her prosthetics, so they don't look obviously fake again. But that doesn't help the odd look or two every time her legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat, and Emmy raises an eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares. Either that, or she doesn't notice that people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten a feel of odd looks before, and after a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice them anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm just not comfortable about the bus. Another fact is, I'm not just uncomfortable about the bus. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. The nurse said she trusts me, even if it doesn't look like it, but I'm not sure I can trust the nurse. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective of Emmy. And I'd likely say something to make her look good if someone asked me about her. So, he might just be doing that. Still, there was something about the way he seemed genuinely surprised that Emmy invited me along. Maybe last night's talk helped more than I think, but I'm still worried. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just as an acquaintance. Now it's going to be as Emmy's boyfriend, with everything that applies. I can feel my heart pounding my chest, an echo of the snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was so long ago, might as well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have medication to help prevent things spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the second time today, I feel like I'll be able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now, if only I could manage my relationship as well as I manage my heart, I'd be in great shape. Yeah. Well, we're here. Emmy grabs my hand as soon as we've stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we got a couple blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. Follow me down the street, watching her confident stride. She's setting kind of a quick pace for just a walk. Guess she's anxious to get there. So, does Mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. The sudden, unprompted reference to her father catching me off guard. And from the look of Emmy's face, I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only heard her talk about him once. Well, like 3 times. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from a relief that I didn't ask about her father, or from finding my statement actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know. She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, or so she says. Clearly, she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous, Hisao? You shouldn't be, you know. It's not that big a deal. Just dinner to my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of me dreads to hear the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this really is a kind of big deal after all. No, good, now I feel twice as nervous. Though, to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. Bolstered by this new thought, I've managed to calm myself considerably by the time Emmy knocks on her front door. Hey, Mom, open up, we're here. Door swings open, and Mrs. Ibarazaki stands grinning at her daughter. The grin is surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I guess. I'm never gonna get used to that. You know, people normally wait a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Of course. Welcome home, dear. I missed you. An affectionate hug later, we're inside. It's only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. Oh, and hello to you too, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. Nice to not have school to worry about for a little while. Ah, yes, you finished up your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. Taking the weight off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. If this news is a surprise to Emmy's mother, she doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? I'm very glad to hear that, Emmy. You know, I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emmy's mother knows something I don't. Rather, she doesn't know that Emmy's told me about the nightmares. It's interesting to be able to observe how Mrs. Ibarazaki covers for Emmy. That protective instinct to make sure that I don't know anything more than Emmy's willing to tell me. I suppose Emmy's got more in common with quirks than I ever realized. Moves around fast, impossible to understand through direct observation, yet she has an effect on everyone she encounters. I wonder if Mrs. Ibarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or is she just keeping everything secret from everybody? Yeah, it's not as bad as this year as in the past. Hisao helped me to stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut off contact outside of that school hours during exam week. But, I mean, she did see me during the day, and she told me more than once that the morning one was the only thing she looked forward to during the exam, so maybe it's not that much of a lie. Even though she couldn't run that whole time, so I don't know what you're talking about, Hisao. Either way, to hear that being around has helped even a little, makes me feel a little bit better. Emmy's mother raised an eyebrow at the statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy, or she's as surprised as I am. Well, then it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I'd tell you to take care of my daughter, Hisao, but it looks like you're already doing that. Emmy grins at this, and seems to take pride in having managed to integrate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever was, even before. I'd actually never thought about it that much, nor I'd ever appreciate the humor in it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. So, now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckled quietly, then realized I never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack and wound up at school here. Comes out so casually. There was a time that I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me and all. But now, it just seems so silly to care, especially in the company of Emmy and her mother. If Emmy can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. Think back to the track meet, where Emmy declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact of her obvious loss has never seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in a wheelchair frustrated her, I know, but even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Emmy's way of bringing out the more active side in people, never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy dog eyes she gets, for starters. I'm not surprised she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't just as stubborn as she is, I'm sure Emmy would have gotten her out running with you too.
Oh, that reminds me. Rin says hello.
I drift to the outer edge of the conversation as we move into the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and the spread that Emmy's mom has produced is impressive.
Whoa, you made enough to feed an army in here.
Is it too much? Well, you can always take some leftovers with you when you go. That sounds great! I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Something home cooked would be a welcome change of pace. We went to the store before. We go to the store sometimes. We need food from the store. Store? Yeah?
Oh, what he said. Thanks, Mom.
It tastes as good as it smells, and there's a lull in the conversation while we're all digging. I want to know what we're eating! And we assault our plate with the usual amount of gusto, and I'll admit that I set a pretty fast pace myself. So, Hisao, I hear that you and my daughter here have gotten rather close, You have to say something like, not really so strong, that I open my mouth to say it, but then reassert control. We are close, there's no getting around it. I mean, Emmy's brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to take my reaction as a sign that I'm caught off guard rather than considering saying something cruel. I suppose we have. I blame the morning runs myself.
You make it sound like it's a bad thing, Hisao.
Well, I for one found it a relief. Why's that? Emmy's always been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. It's been news to me. I've always seen Emmy chatting with her classmates in the hallways. And certainly the whole track team seems to love her. But that is true that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch with me and Rin. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from a popular girl, after all. Then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say that I'm surprised. I always begin to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes to the ceiling and gobbles something I can't quite make out. Huh?
What?
What's that you just said?
Nothing.
Mrs. Ibarazaki chokes on her drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with the nurse too long, Emmy. I'm gonna have to talk with him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow I don't think that'd be very effective.
I learned most of it from you anyway, not the nurse.
And don't listen to her, Sal. She's a born liar.
Huh, yeah, right.
No, I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point.
What? You traitor! You're supposed to take my side in this.
Yeah, but you did. Ow. A kick in the shins from an unmistakably plastic foot cuts me off, but not before Mrs. Ibarazaki's eyes shoot upwards.
What about your leg? It wasn't that big deal, that's all. I was just in a wheelchair for a bit.
Last few mumble words are quickly deciphered by Emmy's mother. I suspect that she has experience with this sort of thing, and a worried frown appears on her face. So that's why he kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy, I know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course she spent enough time in a chair just after the accident. It's coming out whether you want it or not. She didn't get prosthetics immediately? This is just going over her head. Emmy's like, please stop. Please stop this conversation. Stop it now. Just stop. No, she had to finish healing up before they let her start the sort of therapy. You gotta go through to adjust to those things. Especially since she wanted to run on them. I had no idea.
Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival?
Emmy's son Jane on top of it makes me realize belatedly that she's been fidgeting the whole time her mother and I have been talking. Yeah, we've just been going over her head with this. Should have figured on her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it out to the festival, remember? Although I caught a glimpse of it at your track meet. Seemed pretty weird to me.
I think that's more or less what she was going for. She talked a lot about being dreamlike, or trying to make it dreamlike.
Rin's art is one of those things I don't think I'll ever understand.
That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects it to be understood. She told me once that art allows people to understand stuff they wouldn't understand otherwise. But all the same, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I'm surprised that Emmy's talked to her about this with Rin extensively enough to actually have Rin's opinion, such as it is. Although I expect that Rin could not, if she were so inclined, say the same thing about Emmy's. Of course, unless of course, Emmy's purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely but unpleasant to think about. I drift down this unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of the conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh?
Are you gonna visit your father this year? Oh. So he's not dead. He's not dead. Which I think was already confirmed before, that he was in fact not dead. What is possible is that he's been hospitalized, and even more so than Emmy, given the accident. From the way she says it, you'd think that Emmy's mother was talking about the weather. From the way Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of the head backwards, as if she'd just been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Her voice sounds brittle, strained. Looks as if she's been severely shaken by the question. Seems that Mrs. Irizaki misjudged just how close Emmy and I are. Some things, it seems, are best not conversed about with me around. Her father's one of these things. The accident that took her legs is probably one of those other things. If her reaction to the other conversation between the mother and myself is any indication. Doesn't take Emmy's mother long to realize she's screwed up. No, of course you can, dear. I'm sorry to bring it up. I just want to ask so I can make plans. It's fine, don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously, as if embarrassed by her own reaction. I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. Why does a simple question about whether she'll visit her father again cause such a strong reaction? Unless whatever serenity she claimed to have reached by means of our talk the previous evening has suddenly evaporated. Or it didn't help as much as she thought, or claimed. I'll, be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Emmy gets up and suddenly leaves the table, leaving me and Iburizaki alone. I'm a little conflicted. Should I go after her or should I stay here? It's obvious that Emmy's departure was not based on the call of the nature. Something's bothering her, and I have no idea. And I have to know what it is. How to go about it. Why would we go after her? Why would we go after her? We gotta listen to Muto, and we gotta listen to Yuko. Don't try to observe her. Observe around her. Let's talk to her mom. There's an awkward silence at the table for a while after Emmy dashes off. I can't think of anything to say. Emmy's mother sighs, breaking the silence. I'm sorry about that, Hisao. I sometimes forget that Emmy's touchy about certain subjects. And I was talking about the wheelchair thing, too. Should I go after her? Heavens, no. She didn't leave the table to continue the conversation, But if she's troubled, shouldn't someone help her? If it were anyone else, I'd say yes, but my daughter's as stubborn as a mule, and if she wants to be alone, it's best to let her be alone. Otherwise, she'll say something she'd regret, which would cause you to say something you'd regret. And I'd prefer that dinner doesn't end with one or two of you, or with one or the both of you storming out of the house. If that were to happen, I'd be a terrible hostess, wouldn't I? I've already acted like a fool once today. That's okay. I shouldn't have brought up the wheelchair, apparently. Mrs. Iburizaki frowns, clearly more bothered by Emmy's omission than she let on. I wish she wouldn't do that. It just makes me worry more, She does it often? What, running off to the bathroom? No, can't say she does. Keeping injuries from her mother, though? Well, that's a little more common. Every time I catch her lying like that, she assures me that the only reason she didn't tell me is because it wasn't a big deal. If it's any consolation, I'm sure the only reason I knew about it was because I saw her every day. This elicits a dry chuckle from across the table. Mrs. Iburizaki sighs a little sadly. Still hesitant about getting close to the people, huh? I'll keep hoping that you'll get over that. It's funny, really. She's bounced back so well from the accident in so many ways. I guess some things never really go away. From the looks of it, the whole thing still bothers her, too. She seemed to be a little more willing to talk about the accident without Amy around, though. Hey, I've got a question if it's alright. Oh? What else did Emmy lose in that accident? The nurse said that she gets this way near the anniversary and she won't talk about it to me. So you thought I'd fill you in, Yeah, hopefully. Well, there's a problem with that request, Let me guess. You promised Emmy that you wouldn't tell anyone she didn't want to know, and you don't know if she wants me to know. Something like that. I promised Emmy that she'd be the one to tell people the full story. But isn't that important? I mean, it's clearly had a huge effect on her if she's still like this after so long after the accident happened. That's true. It did have a long-lasting effect on her. There are a few things that she'll probably never really get over. For a moment, Mrs. Iburizaki looks incredibly saddened, as if an old wound is bothering her. I suppose there are a few things I'll never really get over either. Another dry chuckle, and with a shake of her head, Emmy's mother banishes the memory. Look, there's something you absolutely must understand about the way Emmy thinks about the accident. What's that? It wasn't a big deal. Somehow, I managed to keep my mouth from falling open in surprise, but it takes some effort. That has to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I beg your pardon?
Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but it's a pretty accurate summarization. Emmy believes that the accident did not define her, and that everything she lost that day didn't define her either. She's not that girl who lost her legs. She's the fastest thing on no legs. Her optimism and energy came out of that wreck without a scratch as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, it goes beyond that, doesn't it? I mean, last night she told me that she refused to rely on me because it would make losing me too painful.
Not really. You said she won't tell you about the accident, even though you've asked her about it before, right? The reason she won't talk about it when you ask is because to her, it's not something you absolutely need to know. Even if she wasn't terrified of getting too close to anyone, she still wouldn't talk about it.
She's afraid of being close to me?
Oh, goodness me, yes. For all that talk about being unscathed by the accident, she's gained the ugly knowledge of how quickly it can all be over. So she's not going to let people get especially close to her, and she certainly would resent any implication that she cannot work through this on her own.
But I don't think she can.
Oh no? Are you sure you've been dating my daughter and not somebody else? Trust me, Hisao, she can get through it all on her own. But she has nightmares and can't sleep well. And she does this every year. Tell me, if she wasn't able to get through it on her own, do you really think she'd still be alive? She would have killed herself or something equally melodramatic.
So what, I shouldn't try to help her?
No, I didn't say that. I hate seeing my daughter like this, and knowing that she could rely on someone else would make me relax. You just need to understand that accepting help goes against everything Emmy thinks about herself and the way the world works. If you still want to offer help, then I guess that's your call. Honestly, I'd like you to, but it'd be silly not to warn you that it's not going to be easy. You just need to be patient with her. She's already closer to you than anyone else she's ever met at Yamaku.
Well, it sure doesn't feel like we're very close.
Good. That makes this part easier. Emmy's voice nearly gives me a heart attack. Whoa! Didn't hear you come back, Emmy. How convenient! Wait, were you eavesdropping? Nope. Just happened to come back at the right moment, I guess. Emmy, Hisao was just...
Emmy holds up a finger, cutting her mother off.
Oh, on his way out of the house? Yeah, I know.
Emmy's trembling with anger now, looking vaguely betrayed.
Emmy, don't be ridiculous. We were just... You promised!
Pain carried in that last word is almost too much for me to bear. The idea that I could hurt her that much is like being kicked in the gut. Emmy's mother looks simply pained by the thought.
And I kept that promise. Just listen, there's no reason to go throwing people out of the house.
Emmy's mother seems to be both angry at her daughter's outburst and embarrassed that I'm a witness to it. There's only one real solution to this problem, I think. It's okay. I'll go.
No, really, that seems a little unnecessary.
Don't worry about it. Thank you for the dinner, Mrs. Ibarazaki, and thanks for the advice.
It was my pleasure, Hisao. I'm sorry we didn't get to dessert.
That's okay. I have to watch what I eat anyway. Good evening, Emmy, Mrs. Ibarazaki. Formality of our conversation, coupled with the fact that I'm getting ready to leave, seems to snap Emmy out of her anger.
Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I've been and after last night... You don't have to go. I take it back. It's okay.
I can't help but smile slightly. She can barely articulate her apology, and I really would like to stay, but I don't think I can. Right now, I need to think about what her mother said, and about what I'm going to do with us. I don't want to risk accidentally getting Emmy angry again in her current state either. No, I think I'd better leave. You seem pretty shook up, and well, I'd only wind up trying to help you again. I know you prefer I didn't, so I'm going to leave instead.
But...
Hey, it's not a problem. You don't want a night on a white charger, right? Just promise one thing, okay?
What?
Don't be angry at Mom, okay? She was just giving me some advice, that's all. Emmy nods, hesitantly, like the simple idea is all that she can grab onto at this point. She's so terribly off balance, but I can't do anything about that right now.
Okay.
See you tomorrow, okay? Running in the morning, don't forget. I can see that I've hurt Emmy by deciding to leave, but there's nothing I can do for her as things stand. I know that she's too stubborn to admit that she wants me to stick around. I watch various emotion cross Emmy's face as she tries to process everything that's just happened. Shortly comes that calm look again, like last night, and that voice that tries so hard to sound careless.
Sure, Hisao. See you around.
Both of us are unwilling to concede emotion at this point, and I'm having a hard time keeping up my facade, so I turn on my heel and walk out the door. I shut it behind me slowly, pausing for a moment as the latch catches my hand on the doorknob. Did I make the right decision just now? Should I have stayed and try to work things out? No, I decided not. Not in front of her mother like that. In spite of everything, I'd rather keep Emmy's mother insulated from the sort of anger that surfaced last night. Even though she's probably used to it, some protective instinct wants me to keep Emmy's image as a cheerful girl intact. With a start, I realize my hand is still resting on the doorknob. I take my hand away, put it in my pocket, and head down the slowly darkening street. Yeah, this is clearly dark out. I let out a long breath. Wait until tomorrow morning comes isn't going to be easy. In any case, I have to think on what to say to Emmy. I must apologize, and I must get through to her somehow. On that account, something's been in my mind for most of my way back to my room. The letter of apology from Iwanako. I was so concerned about my new life when I received it, I didn't even bother to really read it. Now that I find myself in a similar position, my curiosity got me rekindled. What did she want to let me know so badly? If nothing else, reading her thoughts might help me frame mine. I remember tossing it away. Damn, where did I throw that thing? Checking on my desk, that turns up nothing, so I look harder to reach more unlikely locations. Well, I know where that last sock went, at least. Still in the letter, though. So when I try sweeping my arm, under my nightstand, I feel something crinkly jammed between it and the wall. Going to a little effort, I reach for my prize and soon manage to bring it into the light. Bingo. Yeah, that's clearly not crumpled. Or that's clearly crumpled, I mean. As I sit at my desk and spread the crumpled paper open, a flick turns the table light. Skimming past the empty pleasantries, I look for the point where I stop reading. Now here it is.
There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there were things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times that when I visited you at the hospital made me worried about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to become more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, but I'm sure. But somehow I got the feeling that you'd given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe?
Giving up on happiness? This sounds unpleasantly familiar.
I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I really am sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most. Even though I like you so much, at least now, finally, I could be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you to not give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you managed to get back on your own feet, on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final somehow. I wonder if we'll meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't. Still, if you'd like to correspond with me, by all means, write me back. I very much like to hear about how your new school is and how you're doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako.
After finishing reading the letter, I smoothed it out carefully and set it aside on my desk. Thank you, Iwanako. I wanted to answer yes to your question on that snowy winter, but never got to. And on that snowy winter day, but never got to. By the time we met again, it was too late. Or so I thought. What would have happened if I had behaved differently back in that dimsily sterile hospital room? I'm sorry. There's no point in wondering now. But there's no point in trying to forget either. I am who I am because of all that happened to me, and all I've looked forward to experience, present, future, and past. And the past may have just taught me an important lesson now.